Israel-Hamas war. Israel bombs Gaza where civilians sought refuge. The Gaza Health Ministry said an Israeli airstrike Tuesday hit a Gaza City hospital packed with wounded and other Palestinians seeking shelter, killing hundreds. If confirmed, the attack would be by far the deadliest Israeli airstrike in 5 wars fought since 2008. Photos from Al-Ali Hospital showed fire engulfing the hospital halls, shattered glass and body parts scattered across the area. The ministry said at least 500 people had been killed. Several hospitals in Gaza City have become refuges for hundreds of people, hoping they would be spared bombardment after Israel ordered all residents of the city and surrounding areas to evacuate to the southern Gaza Strip. In the south, continued strikes killed dozens of civilians and at least one senior Hamas figure Tuesday in attacks it says are targeted at militants. U.S. officials worked to convince Israel to allow delivery of supplies to desperate civilians, aid groups and hospitals after days of failed hopes for an opening in the siege. With Israel barring entry of water, fuel and food into Gaza since Hamas' brutal attack last week, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken secured an agreement with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to discuss creation of a mechanism for delivering aid to the territory's 2.3 million people. U.S. officials said the gain might appear modest, but stressed that it was a significant step forward. The return of the hostages, which is sacred in our eyes, is a key component in any humanitarian efforts, he told reporters, without elaborating whether Israel was demanding the release of all of the roughly 200 people Hamas abducted before allowing supplies in. U.S. President Joe Biden prepared to head to the region as he and other world leaders tried to prevent the war from sparking a broader regional conflict. Violence flared Tuesday along Israel's border with Lebanon, where Iranian-backed Hezbollah militants operate. With tens of thousands of troops massed along the border, Israel has been expected to launch a ground invasion into Gaza, but plans remained uncertain. In Gaza, dozens of injured were rushed to hospitals after heavy attacks outside the southern cities of Rafah and Khan Yunis, residents reported. Bassem Naim, a senior Hamas official and former health minister, reported 27 people were killed in Rafah and 30 in Khan Yunis. An Associated Press reporter saw around 50 bodies brought to Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis. An airstrike in Deir al-Balah reduced a house to rubble, killing a man and 11 women and children inside and in a neighboring house, some of whom had evacuated from Gaza City. Witnesses said there was no warning before the strike. Shelling from Israeli tanks hit a UN school in central Gaza where 4,000 Palestinians had taken refuge, killing 6 people and wounding dozens, the United Nations Palestinian Refugee Agency said. At least 24 UN installations have been hit the past week, killing at least 14 of the agency's staff. A barrage of strikes crashed into the Bure refugee camp in central Gaza, leveling an entire block of homes and causing dozens of casualties among families inside, residents said. Among those killed was one of Hamas' top military commanders, Ayman Noval, the group's military wing said, the most high-profile militant known to have been killed so far in the war. Netanyahu sought to put the blame on Hamas for Israel's retaliatory attacks and the rising civilian casualties in Gaza. In Gaza City, Israeli airstrikes also hit the house of Hamas top political official, Ismail Haniyeh, killing at least 14 people. The Hamas media office did not immediately identify those killed. Israeli strikes on Gaza have killed at least 2,778 people and wounded 9,700, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. Nearly 2/3 of those killed were children, a ministry official said. Another 1,200 people across Gaza are believed to be buried under the rubble, alive or dead, health authorities said. Biden's visit to Israel Wednesday will signal the White House's support for a key ally. He will also travel to Jordan to meet with Arab leaders amid fears the fighting could spread in the region. Israel evacuated towns near its northern border with Lebanon, where the military has exchanged fire repeatedly with Hezbollah militants.